All right, so I'm going to keep going with part 2 of why dieting is overrated. Again, y'all stop me if you got any questions. Okay, so like I said, like my nutrition is much more consistent. The amount I'm eating has gone from varying a lot to, you know, I've got targets that I'm hitting. I'm consistently eating more. Even though my average weight is up, I don't have any more fat really on my body. Instead, I'm just consistently, you know, I'm storing the fluid that I have. I got a little bit more food, maybe still in my belly that's undigested, and I've got glycogen in my muscles. So very often when I just take a client who does something like this, you know, they might vary from 12,000 to from 1,200 to 2,000 calories. And when we bring them up to just consistently eating 2,000 calories, their average weight is up, and it makes them very, very nervous. How many of you have gotten nervous when your average weight has gone up a little bit? You can just raise a hand if, and probably at some point, everyone's average weight has ticked up a little bit, right? It's probably happened to almost all of us. It's very normal to be nervous by that. However, like, you know, I'm looking at body composition pictures. I'm not really gaining any fat. In fact, my body fat percentage is probably down just a little bit. So here are my kind of daily targets. Aiming for about 90% compliance on everything. I was a little bit off this day, but current progress, guys, I would say my energy is probably 25% better. My training recovery, this is all subjective. My training recovery is about 30% better. Instead of having to like sleep in the next day after a really hard training session, I'm able to kind of, you know, just get up and go about my day. Or just feeling like I need to sleep in. Subjectively, I feel better in my body. My arms are a little bit stronger. My legs are stronger. Although I will say, I'm sort of holding a little bit, maybe more fluid around my belly. And, you know, like everybody, like I don't really want anything on my belly except flat muscles, right? And even though that's kind of the part that I do carry all the fat that I have, that maybe has gone up a little bit, but in general, like I'm carrying my body better. And I'm losing like a bit of fat, you know, maybe like a ½ pound of fat, which isn't necessarily a ton, but you know, that it is significant. All of this is possible. Better energy, better training recovery, better feel in my body, losing a little bit of fat. All of it's possible because I'm eating more food, more protein. It's allowing me for more movement. So I'm actually lifting a little bit harder in the gym. I've got more energy to go for walks. At the end of a long day of work, I'm not like just, I got to fall on the couch. I'm like, hey, I could go for an evening walk again, you know, with my dog and my wife. So, you know, I'm very, very happy with that progress.
How long have you been doing this? I mean, have you actively been pursuing this?
Yeah, I think 7 weeks or 8 weeks, maybe. So, yeah, so 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Digestion's still good. My sleep quality is a little bit better. I'm being woken up in the middle of the night more because I've got a puppy now. But I usually, if I wake up in the middle of the night, like the next day I can feel it. And now I can wake up in the middle of the night, get back to sleep, and I feel good. That's a good sign that my sleep quality is improving. And by the way, like sleep gets better when sleep is a form of recovery. But sleep gets better when your body isn't pushed to the limit all the time. You know, like when you're not super stressed all the time, when you're not wearing your body out, you actually sleep a little bit better. So what can I improve? What can I continue to do better on? You know, I've fought to be really consistent with eating this much food. You know, if I travel or if I drive to Nashville or Memphis in a day, or, you know, I go to the lake on a weekend, I've got to pack extra food. I've got to fight to get this amount of food in every single day. And while it's a lot of work to get that food in, it's a really good time to be consistent in the gym to make sure I'm using that food to convert it to muscle. Like if I had a day where I fought really hard to eat 3,000 calories, but I'm not training, like I'm just kind of like wasting a little bit of effort there. Okay, so I'm going to review metabolism. You all have seen the Harris-Benedict formula. This isn't new to anybody, is it? Sweet. Yeah, it shouldn't be. This is my stats, 177, 5'10", age is a little bit off, but whatever, that doesn't affect anything. So about 2,900 calories. All right, this isn't new either, right? This is what your body needs. This is how your body expends energy. And I've told y'all I hate every single one of these acronyms, right? Without looking at some of these, can anybody tell me what BMR is?
Basal metabolic rate.
Okay, what does that mean in real actual people terms?
It's the amount of energy your body needs just to run. Not,
Yep.
I mean, just laying there in bed.
Yep, it's what you expend if you are just asleep in bed or just laying in bed all day. How much energy does your body need to pump your heart, to keep your brain moving, to filter out at the kidneys, and that kind of stuff, to maintain your muscle? Neat is like, chopping, typing, opening up your laptop, like any opening, driving, just any activity you have is made up by neat. Shivering, blinking, that's all neat. PEF, that's just digestion. You actually need calories to digest food. And then exercise, this tiny little 5 to 10% at the top. This is why I don't tell people, like, if you want to lose weight, you don't go run on the treadmill, because if you run on the treadmill for 3 hours, like the amount of calories you're going to burn, you'll make all those back with just like one slice of pizza or a half a slice of pizza. Goodness. So BMR makes up, 70% for most people of their daily caloric expenditure. If you want to increase the amount of calories you're burning in a day, don't run on the treadmill more. Increase your lean body mass, because lean body mass is what you need to spend energy to maintain. So basically, BMR is determined by your lean body mass. So in other words, as I'm putting on a little bit of muscle, where did I put that? I'm putting on a little bit of muscle, and I said I'm losing a little bit of fat, right? It's exactly what we talked about with Jana earlier. As I build a little bit of muscle, my body needs to find energy to maintain that muscle, and it takes a little bit from my fat. Okay, so everybody's got more fat than they want. Even me, nobody will ever get to a point where they're like perfectly happy with their body, which is, well, that's not necessarily true. But I think y'all know what I mean. There's always going to be another level you could get to. But I want to expand those questions. Like, I know every one of y'all want to lose fat, and I'm going to help y'all lose fat. But let's just, if we're thinking long term, let's ask some other questions as well. Do you have enough? Like, fat loss is a given for me. But let's zoom out a little bit. Are you confident you've got enough lean body mass to be as healthy as you want to be? Are you feeling good in your typical day? Like, you feel good every day. Like, the biggest improvement I've made is I just feel a little bit better each day. And that's totally worth it to me, regardless of if I hit my 5-pound muscle mass goal. I want to feel better each day. Are you eating enough to allow for sustainable weight loss? Has anybody ever given me a recall before where you were eating like 12,000 calories, or you had a recent diet in the past where you were eating less than that?
Mhm.
If you're
1,200.
yeah, sorry.
I was about to say 12,000.
Yeah. The majority of people, probably not 8 out of 10 of my clients, are actually eating very, very few calories. And actually, the first step I have for most people is, let's increase your whole food consumption, and let's actually bump up the calories you're eating. Here's another question for you. Have you worked really hard to get to this point where you are eating enough? And have you worked really hard to, like, you are consistently training now and you maybe haven't done that? Have you worked really hard to get a lot of things in order? And if the answer is like, yeah, like it's taken me, a couple of months to really find a rhythm, it's hard to get to this point. Remember, lean body mass is really hard to build. It's really easy to maintain. If you fought for a long time to get to a point where you're actually able to build some lean body mass, do you want to just go immediately into a diet? Or would you be willing to take a little bit longer, you know, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months to continue to build some lean body mass? And that kind of goes back up to this question is, if we're talking about health, are you confident you've got enough lean body mass to be healthy? Or are you like, no, I could shapen up. I could build a little bit in my glutes or my thighs or my arms. Does that question make sense? Does that resonate with anybody?
It absolutely does with me.
Definitely, Jennifer.
Mhm.
You totally fit that bill. Can I share a little bit about that, Jennifer?
Sure. Yeah.
So with Jennifer, some of the results that we've had or that we're looking for have been a little bit slow in coming. But Jennifer is absolutely gaining in strength. She's actually absolutely worked hard to get to the point where she is. You know, your weight, you haven't really lost weight, but you have consistently increased the amount of food you're eating. And it's just a matter of time before we start to see some significant lean body mass gains. But it's taken us a couple of months to really kind of get into rhythm and figure out, okay, this is exactly what we're going for. And you have made the decision to kind of delay your diet because, you know, we've fought to get you to this spot. And now it's like, okay, we can finally maybe start to reap the rewards of that. So, and what this means, what I'm trying to drive home is this will be kind of the last slide here is, you know, this is I almost drew a triangle, but I ended up not drawing a triangle, but there's a concept called the triangle of awareness. Basically, like, I want to encourage people that you really can have it all. You can lose body fat and be really healthy and, you know, have a lot of energy through your day. But that is a long-term project. You can have it all, but you can't really prioritize all of that at once. So most people really easily are convinced to, hey, you know I have more fat than I want. And I didn't really realize I didn't have enough muscle to be really, really healthy, but now you've convinced me of that. And so most people are really easy to say, hey, yeah, I'll build some muscle, right? Does that sound like most of y'all have kind of gone through a little bit of that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. It's like, so then really quickly you say, yeah, you're right. My goal isn't just to lose fat. My goal is to build muscle and lose fat. And what I'm trying to drive home is those require different variables. If you want to lose fat optimally, and if you want to build muscle optimally, you can't just like go right down the middle. Like if you lose fat at 1,600 calories and you gain muscle at about 2,100 calories, if you just go to like 1,800 calories and split the difference, you won't get both results. You'll get neither for most people. So the constraints of both of those goals, which are really important, are very different. And so many people never do the lean body mass thing and keep throwing it away to keep trying to diet, and every time they diet, they continue to lose a little bit of lean body mass. And the yo-yo dieting cycle just takes over. So they really do have different constraints. Does that definitely make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the triangle of awareness. We've got performance, and performance could be like, you know, doing your best in the gym, but really performance is like what I'm talking about. I've got more energy for my day. I'm not falling on the couch at the end of the day. I'm walking around. I can get a little bit less sleep and still feel good. You know, performance is like just living your best life. And I hate that phrase, by the way. But, you know, you've got performance, you've got aesthetics, which would be, you know, hey, I want to be lean. I want to look really good. I want to look great in a dress for the wedding coming up. I want to, you know, I want to look good at the beach. I want to fit in a bathing suit. Aesthetics. And then you've got health. I want really good blood work. I want to long-term age gracefully, you know, all that kind of stuff. All of these, you know, you can usually go for 2 of these at once, but it's sort of impossible to go for all 3 of these at once. So, Kathy, can I use you as an example here? You might be muted, Kathy.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Kathy, for you, you were battling extreme fatigue, right? Is that fair to say, is extreme fatigue?
Yes.
Extreme fatigue, you're coming off a very long diet. It was very, very hard on your body. We said, look, you're going to gain some of the weight back, but it is important for you to handle your obligations at church with friends and family, for you to have enough energy to go throughout your day. So we fed you enough food, and you've had big improvements in energy throughout your day and actually in the gym. And you're actually on the process of getting a little bit healthier. But it's been at the expense of some of that weight regain.
Right.
Now, the reality is we're gonna reestablish a healthy baseline for you. And once your hormones are balanced and you've got enough energy throughout the day, then we're gonna pursue aesthetics. We're gonna pursue fat loss.
So how do you know when you've hit your hormone balance?
Yeah, good question. So we'll be taking labs. We'll look and see those numbers still continue to progress. Your weight will stable out. You're going to have good energy throughout your day, and you're going to be able to continue to keep up with some vigorous exercise. When you do those things, your sleep is kind of recovered, all that kind of stuff, then we'll be ready for you to do some fat loss. Does anybody else have, would they be willing to volunteer like something that you're thinking through with like these three things? Is like you could even just say like, hey, Andrew, I think you and me are kind of focused on these two things, or, you know, or what is something that you maybe hadn't considered that's on this?
What about cholesterol?
Say that again. What about what?
What about cholesterol? And since you have a generic family thing, that second, always fighting against that.
Yeah. So I would put like lab work, you know, high cholesterol. I put that under kind of like the health basket. So if somebody comes to me, here's a great example. Somebody comes to me and they say, I'm pre-diabetic. I'm on like 3 medications. And I want to get off those medications. So I'll very often allow them to pursue aesthetics and health, and we'll lose weight as long as they're like kind of eating enough, and, you know, we'll let them lose weight and drop their calories pretty quickly and remove some of those meds. But they're sometimes not going to feel that good. And they're sometimes not going to be able to get that much out of the gym. They're going to be able to go to the gym, but they're not going to like grow in a bunch of lean mass. And so long term, that actually begins to affect your health. But they make a trade-off. They say, look, it's really important for me to get a win here psychologically, like, you know, and as long as they've established a baseline, we can pursue aesthetics and health like that. So, but the hard thing is, if you definitely aren't eating enough, that kind of can challenge all 3 of these. It just doesn't give you a good foundation to go for any of these. So with you, Mary, it's like, how can we, you know, get that cholesterol under control while, you know, and I would say underperformance is like habits and behaviors and behavior change. So can we get that cholesterol balanced out while increasing your movement, increasing your strength, increasing your energy throughout the day, all that kind of stuff. And the bottom line, these aren't totally separate. You know, you're going to look better when you feel better and you're getting stronger, but it's like, what's the absolute priority? And so this leaves us with a really hard question. What is really, really most important to you right now? And that's not mine to answer. But when you give me an answer, I'll tell you some strategies for how we can get there.
Okay. Feeling good and not being tired all the time.
Performance. See that, you know, that's you and Kathy. Absolutely. And that's mine too.
But now I'm doing better as long as I'm staying busy and I keep moving. I mean, I wake up pretty early, but towards the evening though, I am ready to go to bed.
Yeah, and some of that's probably normal. That's why we have your feedback each week to see if we can kind of gauge, is your energy improving, is it staying the same? It sounds like, just from what I've talked with you and Kathy about, you are definitely experiencing some significant energy improvement throughout your day. And then it's a question of like, can we keep going with that? Can you have a lot more improvement that you can make, or, one other thing though, real quick, because I know there will be people that watch this that are in this situation. Say you look at this and you say, well, I know what I want. What I want to do is lose 30 pounds of fat, lower my inflammation. Why can't I do that? Right? Because you've got me eating more food, Andrew or Lindsay, or Matt, or coaches, like, you're having me eat more food. I know what I want when I look at this. I want to lose a lot of fat. I want to decrease my inflammation, and I want my blood work to look a little bit better. So why won't you let me lose a bunch of weight right now? I would say maybe overarching all of this is sustainability. And if you are at a point where the way you're going to lose weight is by eating, 800 calories and really dropping your caloric intake, you are going to have, like, your health actually is going to deteriorate from that. Your daily energy is going to be really, really tanked. And at the end of the day, it's going to set you up to be set back with kind of all of these. You're going to have to put your body through so much stress. You're not going to be able to maintain, or nor should you want to maintain, eating, less than 1,000 calories for very long. And so that will set you up for long-term weight regain. So for so many people, let's focus on, so the 1 in 3 here, let's get you feeling good throughout your day, work on building a strong foundation, and you're going to be getting healthier as we do that. Let's introduce healthy foods to your diet, and your body is going to look better, but the fat loss and the aesthetics and looking better in your body oftentimes is going to be the second pursuit rather than the first pursuit.
Okay.
When you transition from building improving your lean body mass and feeling like you've really got it together, and you've got your routine and you're feeling good, and you've definitely increased your lean body mass, and then you switch to, okay, now I would like to take off some of that extra weight.
Mm-hmm.
But as you just said, you've increased calories, and we're all eating a lot more, and then I presume you're going to cut calories.
Mm-hmm.
And how difficult is that transition for those who've already done that? Because I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
In my future. So I'm just curious about that transition between the increased calories to whatever you drop us all down to.
Great question. Do you want me to answer that, or do you want someone else on the call who's done it to answer it first?
I'm open to all answers, because I'm just really curious, how hard is that?
Yeah. Let's see. Sally and Horace, y'all both dieted.
Yeah.
Yes,
Was it hard for y'all?
for me, yes. In one way. In the other way, no. I am also a binge eater with stress. And so I have, like, when I'm really stressed, I have had problems dieting.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, no, I haven't. For the most part, I feel full. I do get hungry occasionally, but it hasn't been really hard, I don't think.
One of the reasons, Sally, that so Sally's interesting. But she's actually like a lot of people. Sally is now dieting on more food than she used to eat, like almost ever. So she's built enough lean mass that her metabolism is way up there. And so, used to, I would push Sally to eat something like 1,600 calories. Now Sally's able to like lose weight sustainably on 1,600 calories. Is that fair to say, Sally? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's easier for Sally, Jennifer, because of the foundation she's built.
Okay.
And I have been on this. I started with Andrew a year ago in September, I believe, maybe the end of August. And it is a slow process, and but I have seen how it really works. I have lost more and gained more strength. I've been stronger in my mid-30s, and I was had a very low, I was very lean. Since I gained so much, I am healthier, I feel better, I don't have as many even mood swings, I'm not as tired as I used to be, and I do feel like it's from just energy that I have.
And one interesting thing about that is we've spent most of our time, and Sally actually lost probably most of her fat at like more of a maintenance level. So we did kind of a quicker diet that got off about 22 pounds at the beginning. And then we did about 6-7 months of maintenance. We're just slowly, and the goal of maintenance was to build muscle mass, and just slowly a little bit of fat ticked off and off and off. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, Sally's down 50 pounds. Like, how did that happen? But it happened just slowly as we went. And it was more of like a fat replacement than like an active fat loss phase. But the interesting thing is Sally's lost more than 50 pounds of fat, because she's probably gained 10 to 12 pounds of lean mass. So, so she's probably lost 60 pounds of fat.
Way to go. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It's a work in progress. But I will also say the biggest thing I wanted to do when I started was get healthier. And I actually started on, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I was on 1,000 milligrams of metformin. After maybe 2 months, I was off 100% of the metformin. I am off of, I have dropped my blood pressure medicine, and depending on when I go back in January, I may be taking 100% back off of my blood pressure, because my blood pressure is awesome. 120 something over 60 something. So, that was really important for me, because I'm just tired of taking drugs and not taking care of myself. So
That's great.
And it was a periodized approach where we had a different focus, and that wasn't the whole time was focused on one thing. We kind of switched it up, and when family weddings and stuff came in, we changed the plan a little bit, and so we're constantly having a conversation about what's really most important in your life right now and for the next 10 years.
exactly. And hopefully 30 years.
Yeah. That's just saying a big number. Yeah. Let me make one point, that this is an interesting thing that I have not quite figured out, that I don't think anyone's quite figured out. So I'll start by saying everybody wants to diet when they come work with us. Everybody thinks they're ready to do it, but when you actually get into it, depending on how aggressively you need to diet and what your goals are and stuff, it's people way underestimate how challenging it's actually going to be to stick with it. And people fail dieting very, very, very commonly. So we'll set our goals for the week, and they'll say, "Oh, like I didn't realize this thing came up, and I ate a lot more than I." So people like think like, "Yeah, I'm ready to diet. I know I just need to eat less. I'm ready." And
Yeah.
usually people are like, "Actually, I was really tired and cranky, and I felt bad." But here's the interesting thing, and this is the topic of next week's discussion. This is what I haven't figured out. I call it the diet paradox. And our coach Lindsay is going to share her case study on it. Lindsay did a ketogenic diet. She ate about 900 to 1100 calories for a couple of months. Felt the best she has ever felt in her entire life right before her metabolism freaked out. And she started to develop some food sensitivities, started to have some rashes, started to have some like illness-like symptoms. And the crazy thing is, like really aggressive dieting, sometimes people feel absolutely incredible when they do it. And yet they're like, then they just like get hit by like a train almost. So there is like, and it actually can be a large percentage of people. A lot of my clients fail dieting and they say, I think I'm ready, and they actually aren't. And that's okay. But then a lot of people say, no, actually, like I felt incredible on 700 calories for 6 months. And then I like feel terrible now. So that's the top next week's discussion. And that is a bizarre phenomenon that people feel the best they've ever felt right before their health takes a massive nosedive. So I'm going to leave y'all with this. Thank y'all for this. Was kind of a longer discussion than I had planned, but it's, a lot of information here, but I hope it's helpful and I hope it's practical. The real homework is what's really, really, really most important. What can we be doing now that's going to make the biggest impact on your next, several decades. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all want to rewatch this? I'll post it to YouTube, and we'll be in touch.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all.
Andrew.
Thanks,
Yep.
Andrew.
Talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
If you got any questions, just shoot them over to me via email or text.
Okay.
Okay.